Black Series Jar Jar or Figuarts Jar Jar? Which Jar Jar is the Jar Jar for you? Hey there guys, and welcome back to Nerdy Treasures. Yeah, today we are going to take a look, a comparison if you will, Black Series Jar Jar versus Figuarts Jar Jar. It's Jar 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 Jar. And I thought I'd play this sort of like a boxing match. So we're going to have 7 rounds. Each round will be on things like sculpt, paintwork, packaging, different things like that. And then with each round, I'm going to score them like a boxing match. So for those of you unfamiliar, whichever one's better in a particular round will get a 10, the other will get a 9. If a round is a convincing win, then it will score 10 to the winner and 8 to the loser. And then at the end of it all, we'll tot up their scores, see which Jar Jar is the superior Jar Jar. So I recently received the Figuarts Jar Jar, and I thought this would be like the definitive Jar Jar. I'd be really pleased with it, and it is. It's a great figure, but it wasn't the knockout blow that I thought it would be. There's definitely some things about the Black Series that I prefer. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. So round 1 then, we're going to take a look at the packaging. Now the Black Series, you had 2 options for the packaging. You had their sort of standard Galaxy style packaging, the nice mural down the side, the window box that you can see the figure, but they also released, which is my personal favourite, the Lucasfilm 50th anniversary nostalgia card back packaging, which I absolutely love. The Figuarts one, it's not a bad packaging. There's no window box on it. You get a nice print of the figure on the front, but aside from that, pretty plain. So for me personally, this is a pretty convincing win for the Black Series figure. So I'm going to score that 10-8 in favour of Black Series. So for round 2, we're going to take a look at sculpt. Both pretty good, to be honest with you. I definitely think the Black Series version has more of a thickness to it compared to the Figuarts, and which I think is probably personal preference. My personal preference is the Figuarts one. I think it looks a lot more accurate to the Jar Jar we see. The sculpt on his clothes and pretty much the entire figure is just a lot sharper, a lot more high definition. You've got these lovely textures throughout, which aren't incredibly noticeable, but your eye picks them up and it just makes it look a lot more realistic than the Black Series one, which is a lot smoother. The plastic isn't quite as highly defined on that version. So I'm going to score this 10-9 in favour of Figuarts. So for round 3, we are going to take a look at the paintwork. Now this is a tricky one, because this is the thing when I opened the Figuarts version that I was a little bit disappointed on, but then also not. So I absolutely love the paintwork, or I should say the digital print work that the Black Series version has on the arms. It's one of my favourite things about that figure. I think they did a really awesome job on it. Clothes wise, they are mostly plastic. We do get a bit of a wash on the vest and the, what do you call this? I don't know, this little skirt piece. For the Figuarts version, yeah, you do get really nice paintwork on the skin. It's just missing that sort of detailed skin texture that Jar Jar has. But aside from that, it does look really nice. But where the Figuarts version is better is the wash and the paintwork on the clothes. It's done to a much higher standard. So I'm going to score round 3 a tie, 10 apiece. So for round 4, we're going to take a look at accessories. Now this was a category I thought the Figuarts one was going to steamroll through, and it does have some great accessories. Now I knew what this came with when I ordered it, but I couldn't help but feel a little disappointed when I opened it. So for the Figuarts, we get a bunch of hands. We get a nice thumbs up, which is a really classic sort of Jar Jar hand that I had to use. And we get a bunch of different interchangeable mouthpieces, one with a tongue, one that's plain, and there's another with that weird sort of lizard food thing that he tries to eat. So on the whole, like, very apt accessories. They're exactly the sort of accessories I want with Jar Jar, but there is something to be said with what the Black Series comes with. We get that awesome shield, the spear, and the little energy ball thing on the stick. I don't know what you call that. So it's a tough one, because I think the shield in particular on the Black Series one is a really pleasing thing to look at when it's up on the shelf. It's a real attention grabber, and they did a really good job on it, particularly that fade in the energy effect. But I think I have to give this to Figuarts because the accessories make a lot more sense. For a sort of iconic Jar Jar look, you know, these accessories give him his personality, which I think is what the Black Series 1 was missing. So not a bad showing from the Black Series by any means, so I'm going to call this 10-9 in favour of the Figuarts Jar Jar. The next round we're going to take a look at articulation. The Black Series 1 isn't terrible, it's pretty standard for at the time. The head articulation is pretty good. I don't believe the ears articulate except for like a slight flex where they're sort of attached to the head. It also has visible pins on the legs, which is never anyone's preference. But the clear winner for me for this round is the Figuarts. We got the articulation on the ears. Are they ears? I guess they're ears. An articulated jaw, I mean, come on. How often do we see an articulated jaw in the 6-inch action figure? The arms and legs have excellent range. And you know what, on the Black Series 1, it always really bothered me that the crotch section, and it always just really sort of Jar Jar's crotch always really stood out to me, but it does, like there's like these big sort of gaps there, and it just breaks up the illusion a little bit, and the implementation of that articulation on the Figuarts version is much smoother. So yeah, clear win for Figuarts for me, so I'm going to score that 10-8 in favour of the Figuarts. So for the penultimate round, we will look at scale. There's not a huge amount in this one. I actually thought the Black Series 1 was a lot taller initially, but having them side by side, there's sort of just a fraction of an inch in it. I think the main difference comes from the thickness of the Black Series 1. Now this is sort of personal preference. As I said in the sculpt round, I prefer the Figuarts sort of frame for this one. I think it's a lot more accurate to the Jar Jar we see. So I'm going to score in favour of the Figuarts one for scale. So that would be 10-9 in favour of Figuarts. So for the final round, we are going to look at price. Now for the Figuarts one, I paid, I think it was about £66 and some change. That doesn't factor in things like shipping, which I think was a tenner. Don't think I had any customs to pay, I think that was it. So let's just go with the purchase price of £66 for that. For the Jar Jar, it's been a couple of years since I bought this, but I bought it when it first came out, so I would have paid recommended retail price for that, which a quick check on Google was around 36, 37. That said, you can pick this up for peanuts today. I just saw on Google somewhere that was selling it for £5, which is an absolute steal if you ask me. So obviously the Figuarts one is way more, even compared to the original RRP of the Black Series 1. Trying to find a good enough reason to justify that, because we all know that the Figuarts ones generally are priced higher. They are done to a much higher standard usually. The Black Series has been steadily closing that gap for more or less the same price that they've always been charging. I know prices have gone up a little bit, but the prices have gone up for everything recently. But I have to give this round to the Black Series. When you think you can pick this up for £5, that is insane for everything you get in the box. Compared to the accessories of the Figuarts one, although the accessories, as we discussed, are preferable for me personally, the size of them doesn't really go away to justifying the higher price tag. So as far as price goes, because I know how cheaply you can pick up Jar Jar, I have to score this 10-8 in favour of the Black Series. So if my calculations are correct, I do believe this is a win, but a narrow win for the Figuarts Jar Jar. I sort of expected it to win. It's a much newer figure, much higher price tag. It should be a better figure. But like I said at the start, you know, this hasn't been the knockout blow that I thought it would be of the Black Series Jar Jar. The Black Series Jar Jar is still a very good Jar Jar, with great accessories, great paint apps, and the fact that you can pick it up for as little as you can is amazing. The Figuarts one is great. If you're looking for a more character accurate Jar Jar, the Figuarts one is the way to go. You get a lot more of that Jar Jar personality with that figure. It represents the character a lot better up on the shelf. So if that's important to you, I would recommend going with the Figuarts one. But if you simply need a representation of Jar Jar on your shelf, go with the Black Series. But yeah, for me, ultimately, I'm really pleased with the Figuarts version. It's my new Jar Jar up on the shelf. I love having him with his tongue out, his thumb up like that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But that wraps things up today. Hope you enjoyed me doing something a little bit different. Sorry, the uploads have been pretty scarce recently. I wanted to do a proper sort of review and unboxing of the Figuarts Jar Jar, but there was a delay in shipping, so I didn't get it until sort of after the fact. And then I've been like bedridden for like 4 weeks. So that's why there's been a bit of a gap in uploads. So apologies, hopefully trying to get back on it, although Christmas is coming up, so I will probably be very busy around then. But I will try and upload in between all of the Christmassy stuff. But as always, thank you all for watching. Please consider subscribing and liking the video if you enjoyed it. Thank you to all of the commenters on all of my videos. It really means a lot that you guys choose to watch my videos and really encourages me to make more. So thank you. But as for now, catch you next time.